Tell us how you feel.
No.
You want to spend the first few
No.
moments doing that?
No.
Tell us how you feel. Pouty Wowdy. Episode 9, Coaches Chat. Shawn, Rosie, and Pouty Wowdy Gail. Jason said he didn't know who Gail was.
I know. And he got confused with Shawn and Shawn.
Abby's husband is named Shawn, and I am named Shawn. And Abby is also nicknamed Gail, so we call her Gail, Abby interchangeably. We got a couple topics to roll through.
A couple? There's so many.
Where do you want to start?
We'll start from the top.
Hit me.
2 of our members, they kind of said it in passing, which I thought was so cute. People are watching. Thank you so much. This is so great. That's why we do it. And if you guys ever have topics that you want us to talk about, bring them on. So 2 life members, which I thought was even better, want to know how to speed up recovery after. Maybe like tips on how to start the recovery process a little bit sooner, and maybe just like if you're feeling soreness for several days, what we can do to kind of not eliminate that, but make it better.
All right. Maybe 5 staples that jump out to me, and then add or elaborate on anything that you want to add or I miss. When you get done with training or exercise, making sure if there's a shake happening, that's within 10-15 minutes, and then an hour later a meal. That's the immediate recovery fuel process to muscle tissue breakdown, energy restores through the glycogen, and that's protein and carbohydrates. If no shake, making sure that within a half hour, 45 minutes, I'm getting that meal, okay? So nutrition is one, and making sure that nutrition is consistent every 3 hours, not skipping meals, making sure they're balanced, and you're hitting that. That's the nutrition part. Sleep, making sure that you are focusing on 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep in bed, as a top priority. Sleep is the pound for pound greatest thing for recovery in terms of hormones, growth hormone, recovery, repair, all that stuff. Sleep is king. Water, hydration, making sure we're getting enough through just water, through fruits and vegetables, things like that as well, which hydrate, lubricate, get us feeling better. If you are, or it was maybe a more intense training day, or you went through something new or a different adaptation, maybe some light stretching or tissue work on a roller or movement later in the day. Doesn't have to be anything complicated. Could just be some basic stretches on the floor. And maybe one more is like going, I know it's cold right now in upstate New York, but going for a walk, promoting something through your lymphatic system to move that blood around, move the waste around, even if it's walking around your house. Can I walk in here if I have to adapt to do that? So those are like my 5 immediate things that jump out to 5 tips to recover better or faster.
Yeah, to elaborate, I've heard some people say, I've asked questions like, people are like, man, I get so sore. And it's like, cool, when you leave here, what do the next several hours look like? And maybe if somebody, has a day off, or they're retired, or, doesn't have a day planned, they go home and sit. And that's probably, that's making it worse. You know what I mean? Like we're moving, and then all of a sudden we kind of like sit, and that's how we get stiff is a feeling, but our muscles get short, and that's when things can feel tight. So definitely movement throughout the day. Like try, if it is a day of resting and recovering after training, if a day off, like I said, retired, try to get up every once in a while and move around, or stretch on the floor, or do something like you said to promote some blood flow. And the other thing is, maybe this is for newer members, not coming to the gym. If your plan is to come 2 or 3 days a week, you have one day and then tremendous soreness like for 2 or 3 days, and then it's just all of a sudden it opens up to like 4 to 5 days. Not coming to the gym is not going to help. Okay,
I thought you were saying don't come. Yeah, come, move. Yeah, lower your threshold.
Not coming to the gym doesn't help. Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, prolonging more movement because you're sore. You'll actually feel better.
Oh, for sure.
I've experienced this, I know you have, and other people have too, is you're sore, you come in, and once you start moving around, you start to loosen up, the body starts to feel better, you start to, kind of break through that wall. One last little caveat that I think is maybe glossed over, that I think if your nutrition is high of inflammatory foods, that makes inflammation, which is breaking down your tissue, worse. So if it's processed, if it's you're not getting a lot of high nutrient dense foods, you're not going to recover as fast. Now, I'll use personal experience. 13 years into this specific way of training, 20 years in general, I still get sore. We did something last week where, like I just actually said to you yesterday, my abs were sore for like 4 days straight, normal. And almost like, it's a part of it. And I have my ducks in a row of sleep and eating and movement, and it's still a part of the process. So accepting that too, that there's gonna be times when our body goes through new adaptation, we're gonna experience soreness, but we can speed that up through those 5 tips and what you had mentioned too.
Yeah, and to double down, the time, the window of time, the longer you expand, the more I could use this word, but like dangerous window that you're in. You want to make sure that you're getting in nutrients within, like Shawn said, a protein shake within 15 to 30 minutes, or some sort of nutrients dense meal high in protein after that.
Yeah, and I think this goes into the next one. You mentioned this, that you believe through some conversations with people in our specific gym, there could be, with some folks, a misunderstanding of what happens inside of the gym to what happens outside of the gym. Maybe take that away to what you're experiencing within those conversations and what you know to be true there.
I'm going to admittedly say that it was only in the beginning of my coaching, because I'd been I've been here for 12 years, but the beginning of coaching, which was about 5 or 6 years ago, is when I actually heard the information of what happens in the gym and then what happens outside the gym. Inside the gym, when we do any sort of strength, resistance training, conditioning, it's breaking down the muscle tissue and the muscle fibers. We're breaking down in here. It's what we do outside of here that helps build back. So that's why I feel like we've said protein a million times over the last couple of months, but even extended through that, of course not. But the importance of protein and the importance of fueling and feeding the broken down muscle tissue is what helps build it up, and that's how we get stronger, and that's how we build lean muscle tissue. Hydration, again, same thing. The importance of water, and then maybe even adding electrolytes to that by adding some salt or lemon or something, to hydrate the muscles. Another part of that, but that's what's happening. The misunderstanding is that I'm building muscle in the gym, yes, but what's actually happening.
Yeah, and maybe I'll even look at this from a different way. To me, the gym stuff most of the time is the easy part. And what I mean by that is by no means is training easy or should be easy, but we can wrap our minds around going to the gym 2, 3, 5 times a week. And it's fun, and we can kind of really lean into that arena. It's 1 hour. So for some folks, that's 2 hours, or even less sometimes, to potentially 5 hours a week out of your week, and that's dedicated to movement. And it's the other 23 hours of the day combined sleep and food. And that's where most of us struggle getting those ducks in a row. You mentioned we keep talking about protein, because it's about the process and it's the longevity of these things that we need to continually refine and get good at. Training is something that we should have the mentality we're going to do for the rest of our lives. Eating well within a specific percentage, 80-20, 90-10, high quality nutrient dense foods, awareness on protein, zags occasionally, in moderation, should be a lifestyle choice that we move to. And for some, coming from maybe not having that knowledge that developed, it's going to take some time to get there. And your struggles are more than likely going to happen and make stuff in the gym harder, or your progress slow, or your body not feel as good. And that's your responsibility to take. Our responsibility to take of ourselves. So if you want to look better, feel better, perform better, and generally just enjoy more out of life, it's marrying the two of what I do in the gym and having fun doing it and being realistic with where I'm at 10 years in, or my body feels like this, or I'm just starting, wherever it is, to doing more things right and keep making little deposits each day outside of the gym than not.
Yeah.
And that, just do that for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I was so, you know, on Instagram, I feel like what we follow and the messages that we get, it's a lot of...
How much time you spending on Instagram?
What do you mean? But what I like to take are like little nuggets from is thinking like a lot of people in their 30s or 40s.
Are you blushing?
Why?
The Instagram question?
No. Am I? My cheeks not
If I had to guess, I don't know, like 2 hours a day.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't even have 2 hours a day to look at my phone.
All right, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Your
No, that's my
Instagram
train of
nuggets. You like nuggets on Instagram.
Well, the story that I wanted to share was that I went away this weekend with some friends from college, and we're, you know, late 30s going into the 40s, and I was so proud and impressed by a group of 15 to 17 people, all in their late 30s and 40s, to like that they all have this like a fitness routine and a nutrition routine, and some of them are moms of 2, 3, and how important it is and how good they look. You know, I think that we can, you know, unfortunately sometimes in like other circles I can see it, I'm like, man, you know, I really wish that I can spread the what we do in here to the folks out there. If like I can see that maybe someone's not taking care of themselves, like whether it's like the eating or the drinking, but it was just so cool to see like within that circle of so many people that are aging really, really well. And
yeah, I mean, maybe it speaks to environment matters. Environment can either lift you up or bring you down. You know, when you shared that, I was thinking of if your experience was around a bunch of people who didn't take care of themselves, did drugs and alcohol, and was this complete shift. But I had this one moment in my life, or this one period and chapter of my life where I was really close with them. And now we just have completely different subset of values and what's important to us. It doesn't work because you want to be healthy, strong, you know, be conscious of your eating, and then to be in an environment where people are like that too, it probably felt really good.
yeah, it was really nice. And I said I have a friend that's on a fitness journey, and she was like, she's doing the 6-week like Kickstart Nutrition. She like brought her own food, and it was just, you know, it was
Good for her.
so sweet.
Good for her.
What next?
Why don't you share, there was a question from one of our members, or some people, about like, what's the Open? You want to share like in a nutshell what that is?
For sure. We're under the CrossFit umbrella. This is how I kind of explained to some members last night. CrossFit is in our name, and what's very cool is that once a year, what it does, it opens up its platform, and they put out this worldwide competition. Some folks, the general population, can do it for fun and kind of see their standing in the state and their age group in the world. Opened up to like someone who wants to do it competitively and see where they're ranked, and you know what we're used to, like, you know, years ago. And it's 3 weeks, once a week. A workout gets announced. You have a couple days to do it. If you choose to sign up and register, you can input your scores, and you can see your rankings across, you know, several different categories. And if you don't want to, how we do it is we still have everybody participate. A workout is announced, and we're going to do it, I believe it, on Mondays. But say, was that?
Friday.
Okay. Say I'm doing the Open and Shawn's not. It could be he judges me to keep me to the standard and take care of my reps and make sure that I'm held, you know, to the standard across. But maybe Shawn's not doing it. But we can swap, and I can just cheer him on, count his reps for him after I went, give him strategies, hold him to it, and yeah. And then, you know, again, if somebody wants to compete in a competitive level, there's different ways of moving up levels. And
yeah, and maybe like to piggyback, there was a time I and others in here valued the aspect of that and the competition at a very high level. And our business is not a competitive focused business. However, if folks want to take on an aspect like the Open and challenge themselves, we fully support that. And doing it for fun, doing it for challenge, not getting too hung up in your self-worth and your ego and things like that, but just going in and having fun and using it as maybe an added challenge within the year. And that could be a good fun time and fun thing to do. And you know, if you're not gonna enroll in it too, you can still participate and just not be tied into the worldwide rankings,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That can actually flow into like the energy bus.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Remember that book?
Yeah, that was a great book.
Yeah.
I'm big on the energy you bring to a particular environment, thing, place, relationship, and within a specific environment where people train together. I think it's important to highlight the power that we all have to either add to that experience or to take away from that experience. And coming into a space where we're going to work out in a large group setting, which we'll use that, group classes, pointing out and highlighting how if we are in our heads, if we are distracted, if we are caught up with the life stuff outside the doors and bringing it in, if we are reactive to something that is just, in the grand scheme of things, silly and minute, and we allow that to overtake us and change our energy that then comes into the class, that's a problem. And we're grown adults. And I think looking in the mirror and realizing, okay, reflection, that wasn't my finest, brightest moment. And I can be better. I can choose to be better next time, moving forward. And I think that's something that we should all continually be doing for our own emotional, spiritual, and just development as people. I think, you know, you maybe can kind of share some experiences off of this too.
Yeah, I think that we don't realize, like I can be in that, and I'm sure you felt like that before. I don't think that we realize the impact that we can have on others, whether they're verbal about it or whether they're kind of hidden in the corner. But people are analyzing and not analyzing. What's the word I'm looking for?
I'll set you up. I think this is what you mean. And I'll throw myself under the bus here because we've all done this. We're not without flaws and mistakes, you know. I remember particularly, say I was really in my head about my shoulder injury, and maybe coming into that group environment and being really just to myself, reserved, locked in, and almost like not letting anybody else in, and almost projecting, if I look at it now, like an energy of like, don't bother me. And I'm like, I just feel bad even saying that because I was caught up in my frustration, in my anger, in my upset with my experience and what I was making it mean. And in doing so, I was radiating an energy that was not helpful, uplifting, empowering for those around me. That's not a person's job, but the awareness of that. And I can look back now and be like, whew, okay, that was a shortcoming. Mm-hmm. That was a mistake on my part. And there's a better way, and that's not the way I want to go down. So I think that's maybe of what you're kind of alluding to is the power we, training in a group environment, each have to either make someone smile, and we want to be more of that, versus this sucks, burpees, or just bringing a dark cloud of your energy, even if whatever that may be, to those around you, bringing their experience down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's an awareness going into a group setting. Like if you're going to a place that you could just throw in your headphones and do your own thing, like sure, that's something that people choose to do. But inside here, it's just like Shawn said. I think that being vocal or even like the energy of like your body language or something, it can really have an effect of somebody else, especially if which I know 99.9% of the people walking in here at any point is like, this is the best hour of their day. They've had a day at work, they've had a day with the kids, and they just want to come in here. And we've heard it many, many, many times that this is the hour for me, you know?
De-stress,
exactly.
Yeah.
So if somebody's coming in here with high hopes that that's going to happen, and then, again, like someone else is having the day and they just can't shake it, just being aware of it. And it is kind of crazy. I've been the same way too. Like like stress, I can kind of like wear on my sleeve. And you know, if somebody can recognize that. I had somebody yesterday, Rachel, and I call her out because she's just such a wonderful human being. I was sitting on a computer and I was just so focused on what I was doing, and she walked in and I was like, hey, how you doing? And she was like, you seem very disconnected. Are you okay? So like that right there, you know what I mean? Because we're not surface at all.
Yeah.
And you know, again, 99.9% of the time it's like, hey, like so excited to see you. I was just so like focused. But anyway, just being aware, being present, and not just going through the motions or bringing that energy drain.
This connector point, I think, I'll bring this into play. I think I was talking with Cindy about this the other day. I think it's really important how we evaluate how we start our day. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about what you do with those first few hours can kind of set you on a path for the rest of the day. So if we are, most of us, jumping up, waking up, and we're on our phones very quickly, social media, Instagram, Facebook, emails, whatever it is, we're programming ourselves to become reactive to what comes to us versus being proactive. So I'm not telling people how to start their days, but I'm recommending that it might be worthwhile to all of us to delay that, to not be the first thing I do that sets those patterns of how I'm going to then operate the rest of my day in this reactive sort of state. And you know, I'm guilty of it too, and can fall into that trap as well. And a good like slap in the face for me to like really just throw myself under the bus is like, I'll use her, Mila Rose, as an example. Say I feel like just like the stress or whatever it is, all just bottling up, and like because she's such a lover and a connector and wants to be near and touching. It can even be in a moment where like, let's say like I am like, you know, I say something like, you know, go on the couch or whatever it is, and then like as soon as it's over, it's that immediate like, you know, just feeling,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, feeling disappointed in myself and the discipline of my emotions, that okay, I got the best thing in the moment, and like you said, I go right to it, and it's like it's this innocent animal in this moment, and it's this like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I think seeing that happen with adults all the time as coaches. So it goes back to, again, the morning of what is best for me to how I can shape how I want to experience my day. And you know, I'll just share maybe like something that I know I do is delay the phone. I read something in the personal development realm to start to get my brain going, or even I'll listen to something that connects with me. I'll start to write. I'll set some intentions of how I want to show up for the day. And like going back to reflection, say I had a moment like that in the end of the day, I would reflect on that in the back half portion of the day of like, whew, okay, I dropped the ball a couple times today, or this moment, or whatever it was, and I'm not proud of that, and I can learn from that experience, and I can be better, and I can show up for her, for whatever it is, and use it as growth versus lowering how I feel about myself. Like, okay, it was a behavior, it was a and like the Ted Lasso show, which I don't know if you've seen that, have the memory of a goldfish, like be able to forgive and forget and move on like that, you know?
Oh man.
Speaking of struggles, you shared one that I think is great of in the nutrition realm. Something that I think is very common, or could be common out there with folks, a recent nutrition client struggle.
Yeah, of not feeling as though that they like just can't eat enough. You know, I think
We'll share like, and share maybe what their habit or pattern was looking like, this big gap, right?
Yeah, so nutrition client that works, you know, like a 9-to-5 job, and then comes to the 6 p.m. And something that we're working on is the gap between last meal or last, you know, like food to the 6 p.m. class.
So lunch meal to 6 p.m.
Exactly,
Yep.
yeah. So there was just too much time that was going by, and then by the time I came here, feeling like drained and not having the energy and kind of like gassing out a little bit.
Yeah, and I remember this specific individual one time had an experience when we were doing maybe one of the more intense training sessions, and seeing her be a little like pale and checking in, and then further questioning, being like, when's the last time you ate? And it was, shoot, like 6 or 7 hours before that. So this person had no fuel.
Yeah.
So you could just see all these kind of maybe missteps that are not going to lead to optimal feels, optimal performance. So go ahead.
So in breaking down in our law sessions, I always have like, to give me a typical day, typical day of time of eating, what are you eating? And that was it. It was, last meal was around 11:30, 12, and then nothing until, the after. So the concentration, of course, is on protein, just eating enough, calories in, calories out. We need to like at least maintain a certain amount, which is our basal metabolic rate, but also because we're exerting so much energy in here, being able to fuel. So she was like, we had a little check-in. She was like, I'm just not hungry. I'm not physically hungry. And sometimes I feel like I'm eating just to eat and I feel like overstuffed. And it was just a little tip like, hey, what does your lunch look like? I have, a certain amount of chicken and this and that and the other thing, and it's about 50 grams of protein, which is a lot, which is great, but just splitting it up, like, hey, how about if you have lunch, if you have a lunch break around 11:30 and 12, eat half. And then whether you're sitting at a desk or you can kind of like go over to the side and take a little time for yourself, eat the rest around like 3 or 3:30, and and being able to split up. And she was like, that was super helpful for her.
3 thoughts. Law, so those of you who don't know, is a lifestyle accountability and wellness coaching session, which opens the gap of all the stuff outside the gym: nutrition, sleep, stress. So it's not just related to one specific area, just in case anybody didn't know what that meant. 2 is, that's a typical struggle that I believe people who come from eating more in the realm of carbohydrates and fats and less protein, when you make the shift to eating more protein, you feel fuller. And it's like, holy, like she was eating 50 grams of protein. Probably previous was not starting her day that way.
No, probably just getting 50 protein.
Right, so that shift is a change in the body, and your body has to adapt, because it's very easy for us to eat and overeat carbs and fats because they're tasty and all that realm. When you make the shift, the body is changing and adjusting. And you offered the point 3 is a strategy of how to better approach that versus all in this one lump sum. Well, maybe we break it up and you kind of disperse it as your body navigates the journey. I think that's great.
Yeah. And then, can you overeat protein?
Yeah, so this was a question from a new client of ours, and he was like, hey, can you overeat the macronutrient protein? And short answer is no. Your body, like, protein is such a filling, satiating nutrient. You can't overeat in that realm. Now, of course, context, anything in excess could lead to, possible weight gain. Now, that being said, is there a ceiling on it? Probably not. Here's a myth I used to believe and recently got debunked: is your body can only process 30 grams of protein at a time. So I lived a large portion of my life only eating 4 ounces. So I was eating like 4 to 6 meals a day. And then recent research and just kind of debunking that of like, that's not true. Now, I've also tried with the meats of like, what if I eat 100 grams in one sitting? And I've also can confirm that doesn't feel great, So like, there's a lot of like digestion and process, and you're kind of, I at least am like little like zombie like with a sour stomach for the next hour. So like, won't be doing that again, So again, it comes down to strategy and execution.
That's funny. So did you see that corner? I have a client. She shared with me this morning that she took her son to the pediatrician, and her son is a bigger baby, but as we all know, like, babies definitely like go through spurts of maybe being bigger, being smaller, and the pediatrician didn't encouraged weight loss supplements for the baby.
Did or didn't?
Did.
How old's the baby?
Like 4 months old.
I don't know enough.
Or no, I'm sorry, 4 years old. Toddler. Can you believe that?
Did they ask about diet?
Yeah.
And
like was just kind of like, hey, this is a helpful tool as they go through these like toddler years.
So why did you write that down? Did you want to talk about like?
It goes to, because we have a lot of moms in here, and again, that's just coming off the weekends of like my.
Because I can share my thoughts on it, my opinion on it.
That it's fast and easy. And
get a new doctor.
Yeah. And it was just more of like.
I'll say it real raw. Like I heard someone in this space talking about fat loss raw, and I will share, I agree with this to a degree. you don't need Ozempic or these things to lose weight, or like this. Like, fat loss is not complicated. We make it complicated. And I mean, I don't know the specific situation here. If there's more to the story that I don't know, if that were my child, granted, I get into arguments all the time with doctors, but I would not settle on that opinion, and I would get another one.
It was like expediting the process as like going through.
Speed?
Yeah.
That's what we're after here?
I know. I think I wrote that down because I was more, it just brought, again, the pride in.
Comes down to, I guess, people's choices.
Yeah.
If it's not wrong, I guess, if, I don't know, it's, without context, I could see where, I don't know, it's, weight loss pills to me, like, they're just, and stuff like that, just fit in a bucket that, especially a 4-year-old, like, I'm thinking of my girlfriend's daughter and her being on a diet pill at 4. What is that programming at that age, and what sort of message is that sending versus
Just building.
and no disrespect to this parent, or any parent, but if my child is overweight and I bring to the doctor and there needs to be some sort of weight loss intervention, I need to reevaluate some of my decisions and behaviors and what I'm allowing, or within my network, if it's a split household and they go to dads or moms, it's like there needs to be discussions, because we're in charge of that. And I'll share maybe, and I hope she's not upset with me, my girlfriend, she, her son had to go to, this is in a similar realm, had to go to the dentist and had like, there were some cavities previously, and like now like a tooth is kind of like, I think dying or something. And she wrote to me and she was very upset and hard on herself. And I felt for her of like what she had experienced, but also in the thinking of, this is really simple. Like, they got in this really habitual pattern of like, we're gonna enter under nights with treats, and they wanna go towards the sugar. Remove the sugar. It's no longer an option. Or you cut it to once a week, if that. It's really simple. So this is like, I would reevaluate what I am doing that's contributing to this. Even is it like, do we need to pick up basketball, or like, do we need to be, like, versus I'm gonna get you on a weight loss pill at 4. So strong opinion from me. I don't know what your opinion is on that.
The one thing that I was thinking is like, I feel as though it was more of like this pride moment of like what we're doing in here, and just the influence that we have on the mothers for their kids. Like, the kids come in here and they want to move, like they see their moms or dads moving and then they want to move, or a lot of them sharing like, hey, because I'm changing the way that I'm eating, my kids are changing like the way I'm eating. So it's like this kind of a ripple effect there. And
yeah, you lead by example.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think that's
you lead by you lead by example.
Yeah.
And maybe the last little nugget on this is, maybe the thought is that's not the final word. And I'll share as a pivot, like a relatable example. I would go to the doctor, and I learned early on in my 20s I have high cholesterol. Learned later it's genetic. My father, my brother, myself, it's familial. And my doc was just like, cool, we're gonna put you on statin. I'm like, whoa, and he doesn't know I own a gym, he doesn't know how I eat, doesn't even ask those, maybe ask some general nutrition questions. For 2 years, I did blood work every 3 months and did experiments of removing this and trying this and adding this, and did that on my own. Fast forward, even learning, there's another layer of getting what's called a CAC, coronary calcium scan, to see the specific arteries. Are they being blocked by hard or soft plaque, or just in general? That's more information, but you're not given that. It's the speed. It's, I see you for 7 minutes, we need to get you on this. And I'm not saying it's the right or wrong method. I get it. Like, maybe it's the funnel they have to fit into. But on us to say, what are some other things I can look into, expand, get a second opinion, research on my own, versus just accepting, okay, my 4-year-old is a little overweight and needs to go on a weight loss pill. I don't think so. Next question.
Well, I think it's because we're so passionate about it, because it's
That's health and fitness.
Yeah, it's the message that we want to have here, and again, like, I feel when we hear the stories on the like brighter side and the positive side of like, hey, like this, that, and the other thing, like sharing these like bright spots, it can just feel really good that's why what we do is what we're doing, you know.
For sure. What's to pivot, one of your favorite or best glute exercises? One. One word.
Deficit back rack lunges.
Okay. Shoulders. One of your best or favorite shoulder exercises.
High pulls.
I was gonna say that. Leg exercise. We'll kind of just generalize the legs from knee to hip.
Bulgarian split lunges.
Okay. Tricep. Back of your arm.
I like
Single
Miracle
arm.
Grow.
Oh, Miracle Grow. Okay. Back.
I like a good bent over row. Actually, you know what? Chest supported row. You introduced me to that. It's like, I love it.
Yeah.
Ab. Abs. What do I like?
What's one of the best abs? Not one you like.
Oh.
These aren't what you like. These are what is the best.
Hollow rocks.
Okay.
What are yours?
Glutes. Any form of lunge is going to be a great exercise. Weighted lunges, dumbbell lunges, back rack lunges, standing on a plate, whatever it is. Delts, you stole my answer, so if we family feud this style, where like high pulse was going to be mine, I'll go push press is another good one, overhead, or even like a lateral raise, which we don't really do in here. Leg squat, back squat, front squat. Tricep, I'm going to go bar dip. Bar dip is the equivalent of the upper body squat. Back, man, I love pull-up is a great back exercise. Underrated is like a deadlift and how it just hits everything in there. From back to lat to trap, mid-back supporting. Ab is nutrition. Now, ab, I would say best ab would be an L-sit, which is very difficult to do, stabilizing. And maybe a close second would be some form of strict leg raise where you can get your feet above waist, better shoulder, better head level. Like
wow.
the lower ab and hip flexors involved in that. And I know that's hard.
Yeah, abs are made in the kitchen, Shawn. If you
said it like a question. Abs are made in the kitchen. We spoke on this last time. Abs are not built by sit-ups. Abs are not built by GHD sit-ups. Abs are not built by Russian twist. Those are all strengthening of those exercises. If you want to visibly see your abs, you need to be in a calorie deficit where you're tracking and you're losing weight, and then your abs will become visible.
Yeah.
Voila.
We can rapid fire. Well, we can't really rapid fire, but like 60 seconds or less answers on the top 3 to end.
Okay, try to keep them to 60 seconds.
Well, this one will be fast. Why did you get into coaching?
Why did I get into coaching? Because at a core level, I love helping people change, improve, transform, and become empowered. 60 seconds.
That was 20 seconds.
I know, I'm trying to keep it brief like you said, because I could probably go on, but what's yours?
I tell the story all the time. I was in a job that was just kind of like rinse and repeat, washing machine style. And I was here and I was in this environment. I was looking over at you and 2 other coaches, like doing exactly what you just said. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed so fulfilling, and it seemed like and you're putting an imprint in the world. And I wanted that so badly, and I just didn't know how. And I'd been CrossFitting for all this time, and that's why I got into coaching. Why do you continue to coach? Because you love being around me every single day.
This is an interesting one. I've been coaching less now than I ever had. Like I was talking with Sydney again, and you. I spent the first, I don't even know, 8-9 years of my coaching career coaching every class. And now it's a few a week, if that, to allow the coaches to coach and to expand and better what we're doing here. But I continue to coach because I love it. I love coaching. To me, it hits all of the buckets for me, like on the personal level, like creative, artistic expression. I love putting all the pieces together, and I love coaching people. I love helping people. I love, you know, taking them on the journey of betterment.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, me too. And the relationships that I've made, it's just like, I feel so attached to the relationships that I've made with the people in here, you know, and it's like continuing to be a part of their lives.
Yeah, there's something really rewarding about knowing the 1 hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it particularly is, how you can show up, and even outside of the training, like your kindness, the way you can show up for someone and be maybe something that brightens their day, or they aspire to be, or made their day on a human level, but then on what you do in terms of your work ripples into their lives and into the lives that they're in, just like, wow, and that doing good in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that says, it's like, what does coaching mean to you?
Coaching means to me empowering people. It means taking them to a place, a version of themselves that is much better or more empowered and more expansive than when without coaching. It's such a wide net for me. It's personal development, it's emotional development, it's mental development, it's physical development, it's teaching them how to become resilient, adaptable humans who can do challenging things, and they're just amazing. And it's a gift. It's a gift to serve people and to help them grow.
Yeah, I know. I think I say this raw, like, it's coaching could be out there in the world like this, checking the box, and it's just so much more, I feel like, to me and you, and you know.
Yeah, and maybe that's, not to interrupt you, maybe that's the difference in my mindset of a trainer and a coach. And we look at coaching holistically, coaching the mind, body, and soul.
I was gonna say that.
Sorry.
No, keep going.
Where a trainer will take you through a workout or check a box. And I unfortunately had a call with a woman who was like, I had a really sour experience with a trainer, and I just felt like I was coming back from a pregnancy, and this person just felt like they didn't want to be there. And I was so heartbroken for her. Where when I think about coaching, I think about the totality of the human, and where their body is at, where their mind is at, where their emotional spirit is at, and being a guide along the journey towards improving all of that. And it's not what they, I think, originally come in here for. It's, I want to lose weight, I want to get stronger, I want to meet people. And when you realize that's available, and that's what we provide, and you, me, and Aaron, and the coaches previous, like, being really good at that, that's our specialty, and that's what we hone in on. It's life-changing. We call it LCW, life-changing work.
Absolutely. I agree.
Episode 9.
Wonderful. We did, look at that. We were so good.
Right on time.
And we covered so much.
Questions, hit us with them, for sure.
She's like, you